So I just saw Stuber, and it's one of the most obnoxious movies of the year. I expected this movie to just be kinda mediocre and probably a little boring, but I did not expect this movie to be as atrocious as it was. The film opens with a scene with Dave Bautista and Karen Gillan's actually doing a pretty great job, and all I was thinking was, oh wait, this might actually be pretty good. Unfortunately, not long after I realized what her purpose in the movie was gonna be, and then I realized that this was basically just a Karen Gillan cameo disguising itself as a character. So after her purpose happened, I began to hope that the other actors would at least be serviceable. Karen Gillan just left the movie, you've got shoes to fill. Unfortunately, the acting was all terrible. No, I've never really been a fan of Kumail Nanjiani, so I wasn't really expecting gold from him, but Jesus Christ, is he ever atrocious in this movie. I'm not sure if the guy just can't act or if his agent hates him at this point. Dave Bautista's performance was also pretty atrocious, but it's not like he's really trying at the moment anyway.
What is he doing?
This looks like the wedding at the end of Shrek.
I just wanna break the rules.
Easily the worst part about their performances is that Bautista and Nanjiani have absolutely zero chemistry. You're watching two uncharismatic, unlikable characters spout unfunny dialogue at each other, and it gets annoying fast. This is literally just The Hitman's Bodyguard again, and just as bad. Maybe even worse than The Hitman's Bodyguard, actually. The jokes are repetitive and unfunny, the action is poorly done, and anything that could be salvageable is ruined in the editing room. Seriously, the amount of quick cutscenes and bad zooms in this movie are embarrassing. Visually, the movie looks cheap as hell. The cinematography of the movie is stale and boring, the color palette was ugly. There is definitely some production value here, but the sets are so bad that it makes you wonder why they spent any money on it. The music was bad, and the pre-existing song choices did not fit the movie at all. This film uses the song Because I'm Me by the Avalanches very early on, and that's a great song, but it just made me groan at its usage in the film. This is probably the most unfitting soundtrack I have seen since maybe Suicide Squad. Although during this scene in particular, all I could think of was the unfitting soundtrack to the Happy Time Murders. Except maybe that might just be because this entire film feels like the Happy Time Murders. The comedy is centered around two unlikable assholes bickering. One of said characters is a cop. One of said characters had an experience in the field with their police partner that ended pretty negatively. The jokes are not funny, the soundtrack is unfitting. There's a scene in a strip club, there's a pointless twist villain that is the most obvious twist villain as soon as you see the character in question. The action is very poorly done. They are both terrible garbage. One noteworthy thing about Stuber is that none of it really makes sense at all. This film does not understand LASIK, this film does not understand the police, this film does not understand hospitals, this film does not understand animal hospitals, this film does not understand sporting goods centers, this film does not understand security cameras, this film does not understand dogs, this film does not understand phones, this film does not understand how time works. Seriously, this movie has one of the worst time frames I have seen in any movie ever. The whole film takes place over one day, but it does not feel like it at all. There is lots of usage of phones in this movie, and as a result you get to see the time a lot of the time. And the amount of time spent between each scene is just so unrealistic. There is also a scene towards the end of the movie that starts at midnight but finishes with the sun out, but the scene is just consecutive events. Even with cuts, I do not buy that this section takes more than half an hour in real time. But this film seriously expects me to believe it takes like 6 hours? Who approved this? Anyway, this movie was awful and terrible, and I hated it, and it was kind of unwatchable, and I can't recommend this in good conscience to anyone. There are so many good movies you could be watching right now, do not waste your time with this. Do not give this movie your money, or you are asking for more films like this to be made. This is one of the worst movies of the year so far, and that is saying something. And I'm giving Stuber a 1 out of 10. Don't see it, it's trash. That's the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe. I'm bad at outros, and I'll see you in whatever I do next.